Bosokai, and you know, Bosokai is the heartbeat of the business fraternity, particularly for the government, because they were on record to have put money together to support Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, right? 200,000. And Abosukan is in the Blekuma Central constituency. I mean, everybody knows that Abosukan votes NPP. But now they seem not to be singing the same tune. They're singing a totally different tune. And maybe somebody is not listening or watching. But if you're watching, I'm sure they would have gone there now to talk to them, because this has been consistent over the last 2 years, if you ask me.
That's right. Yeah, over the last 2 years, the lamentations have been that things are just, I mean, there's no reprieve. If you're a car owner, nobody has to tell you that the prices of almost every single part, every single oil, lubricant, coolant, whatever the case may be, if you are a car owner, not only are you spending exorbitant amounts on fuel, but the maintenance of the car, you couple that with the state of the roads as well. I mean, it's a triple whammy across the board. That it's biting. If the dollar can even catch Kube, it's catching Kube. It's dollar not Chikube, no. How much more spare parts that we import?
I think that sometimes some of our traders also try and profit here. I mean,
that is a fact.
Dollar not Chikube, they do import the Kube. What are we talking about?
I mean, that one is something to also look at. But that is what happens in an economy where one can take advantage. Because where is the reprieve? Yeah. It's not like it's an abandon. You know, the everything is in. I mean, I thankfully or fortunately or unfortunately, yesterday I was on set all day, so I couldn't get a chance to sit behind the screen and watch. But of course, I've caught the highlights, and I don't know what I was expecting in that mid-year review of the budget. But for many, it doesn't appear to have met expectations, especially with the fact that some of our debts are deferred to 2026.
Yes. In fact, some that we're supposed to have paid. As we speak, we have postponed the payment.
That's right.
You know, and that was what the Honorable Kisel and Kweku Riketegan was talking about. That look, we have borrowed so much that there are some that we have to pay in the next 40 years. So my son, or my two sons, or Brimbong and Kuku, right, Pakwesi and Kuku, they would have to come and pay monies that they had no idea had been borrowed. No idea. No idea. They just will grow up and realize that the nation owes so much and they are taxed to pay.
That's right.
But they had no hand in it. They have not benefited from it. Some of the loans that are contracted are for projects. The projects have not. Look at a case in point like the Polugu multipurpose dam. $12 million gone. Then we put another $2 million for SkyTrain. Gone. I mean, and there are too many of them. Sometimes it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And everybody's working okay. Everybody's free. Nobody's going to jail. Nobody's getting punished for it. So why won't it be repeated? Why?
This morning, the Ugandans have a newspaper called the Daily Monitor, and it shows some police personnel with shields protecting their House of Parliament from demonstrators. Because now the Ugandan youth, they see what their brothers and sisters are doing in Kenya, and they are inspired, and they have also hit the streets. Things are butu in Kampala. And sometimes you look at these other countries and their macros, you look at their situation, you look at some of the incentives that business people have over there, and it's nothing like what we have. And like you say, for us here, it is business as usual.
Well, Kesel Atuforsin is a minority leader yesterday in Parliament after the budget budget review. He had this to say. He organized a press conference yesterday, and he was flanked by, some of the members of the minority. I don't know why people always stand behind, when they have these press conferences.
And they nod vigorously.
You
have to be seen.
Let's listen to Atuforsin. Let's see Atuforsin 66.
Leaves many people disappointed and uninspired. It gives no hope to the people of Ghana, and that anything this government had said and have done over the last 7.5 years, they've done nothing to reverse the negative trend. In the last 8 years, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government have burdened the ordinary Ghanaian and businesses with a number of taxes, making Ghana a high tax regime. These taxes include e-levy, COVID levy, an effective VAT rate of about 22%, a distorted value-added tax regime, a betting tax, a baller tax, in other words, a sanitation levy, a high tax on petroleum product, an emission levy, a high import taxes, burdensome fees and charges across all sectors of the economy, and over 40 new taxes in the last 7.5 years. These burdensome taxes have made Ghana unattractive for investment and foreign direct investment. As a result, many Ghanaian businesses are relocating to Togo and Ivory Coast, among others. In fact, last week I heard of a company moving from Ghana to Benin Republic. Ghana has lost so many jobs opportunities as a result of the relocation of these businesses. This adds to the already high unemployment situation due to the fact that the government has failed to create new jobs. People can simply not make ends meet. In fact, that is the true state of our country. The high food prices are one of the major problems facing the people of Ghana today. Yet, this media review did not provide a roadmap to arrest the escalating food prices. Planting for Food and Jobs was a monumental failure, despite the billions of Ghana cedis that have been spent so far on the program. The greatest threat to our national security today is youth unemployment and food insecurity. These two factors are fueling the loss of confidence in our democracy, revealed in the recent Afrobarometer report on Ghana. Yet, this media review failed to address these two major concerns. We are aware of the hopelessness of our youth who cannot count on the government for jobs. We are also aware of the suffering of the ordinary Ghanaians who cannot afford 3 square meals a day. We are aware of the unbearable hardships confronting the good people of Ghana and businesses. We are aware of the collapsed state-owned enterprises such as the Ghana Cocoa Board. In fact, we are aware of the insolvent Bank of Ghana. We are aware. We are also aware that the rich have become a middle class. The middle class has become poor, and the poor has become poorer, with the World Bank estimating that 33% of Ghana's population will move to extreme poor by the year 2025. We are also aware that this government is leaving behind a high tax regime. And overall, we are also aware, among others, of the poor governance that this government is leaving behind. The NDC pledges, our pledge is to confront these challenges head-on, beginning January 7th, 2025. Thank you very much.
He's the leader of the minority in Parliament, and we're being joined at the phone line by Edward Kariwe. He's the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union. Mr. Kariwe, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Johnny.
Great. Now, first question I ask you is, were you, as a key player within the agri sector, satisfied with the review that we had yesterday on your sector?
No, certainly not.
And what were your points of disagreement?
Well, this is just only a review. And when you have a budget review, you don't expect major change of the main budget. And the main budget that was read last year to take effect this year was not so pleasant for us. And since then, the impact on agriculture has been minimal. So we don't expect this mid-year budget to have even come up with any substantial policy direction. But the thing that surprises us is to still come and tout a certain level of success for Planting for Food and Jobs program when you know very well that that is not what is on the ground. I just sometimes wonder whether our leaders reflect us. Do they live with us? Who do they speak for? Why can't they close their eyes and paint a picture to all of us that it is good? And they want us to accept that. That's the surprising thing I just see about this budget.
Now, 500 young people are going to be trained in agricultural entrepreneurship. Some $6.1 million will be spent in collaboration with the MasterCard Foundation. How does that sound to you?
Well, that's not the solution. We have talked about this.
In fact, the monies have already been spent, Mr. Kaiwe.
Yes, what I'm saying is that it has already been spent. They should account for it. They should show us those 500 people that have trained. And why will you spend such a colossal amount to train only people? It's not about training. It's about support to farmers to operate. We have more than enough people with skills, with expertise to turn agriculture around. But you don't give them support. And we don't even know who you are going to train. And with this colossal amount, sometimes when you talk, it's like you do not respect your leaders. But that is not it. You can't come and throw figures like this, and then you think that we should just accept it because you are the leaders and you have said it, we should take it. Where are the 500 people that you have trained? They should produce them. They cannot train people. Look, the arithmetic. It means on one person, they spend about $12,000 to train the person. I mean, the system must be able to produce those reforms.
Now, you have bemoaned the situation in the country regarding the agri sector in terms of availability of food. You are scared that we could have food scarcity and then also some famine on our hands if we don't take care. If you look at how much we have spent on plentiful food and jobs, and yet the food is not available, and where you find it, it's too expensive for people to be able to afford. What do you say? Did you get a hint of it in the media budget review, which should give you some hope that, okay, eventually when the big budget comes in November, everything will be fine?
Well, it's not just about budget. We are getting frustrated, and sometimes that is why some people will even say that, please, let's stop financing agriculture. Let's take away subsidy. It isn't because people are against subsidy. It's because it is an avenue for people to make money and then to waste the national resources. So you can't spend this type of money, and yet we have nothing to show. And yet we have every information on the ground where people have smuggled fertilizer, where people have formed companies and then took inputs, and they did not give it to their farmers and they did not give it to their constituencies. All these things are there. So it's not just a question of allocation of resources in the budget for agriculture. It's also about how judiciously we use those resources. And year after year, since the beginning of this planting for food and jobs, we've been raising these concerns. And the waste has always been there. So if you give them more waste. That is why some people even think that, no, why do we even need to be supporting agriculture? We should just leave it. Because it's just an avenue for waste of our resources as a country, because we don't see the impact.
Now, the government says that the country is in the best pair of hands. The budget review yesterday, did it reflect your reality on the ground?
Well, I didn't expect even the budget to reflect the reality on the ground. Look, some of us have gotten to a point where we think that our leaders do not reflect our thinking. They do not talk for us. Because all that they do is to satisfy IMF conditionalities. So it's not about our views. It's not about our cry. It's about what IMF says they should do. It's what they are doing. Just to fulfill the conditionalities of IMF, to go and take about $300 million, to go and take this, and then they will be in good books of IMF and the rest. So our leaders do not reflect our lives. They do not even sometimes behave as if they live with us. They know us. We grew up together. We are from the same communities. The way they behave is just unbelievable. But of course, the thing is that it's a budget that has been read to satisfy IMF conditionalities. It is not to satisfy the needs and interests of the people of Ghana.
Now, for the average Ghanaian, hearing you say some of these things this morning and juxtaposing that to what was said yesterday, they will ask the question, why is officialdom not telling us what the case is on the ground and trying to massage stuff so that people are not alarmed? Why?
Well, If you have leaders who do not reflect your interests, who do not work for your interests, and they work for other agencies and other bodies and external bodies, this is what will happen. If the people on the ground are satisfied with what is happening to them, so it is. Because we are just opposing what they are saying and what is on the ground. You see, if you have used such, look, over 6 million to train 500, you think the people are happy with that? And you just throw up the figures and you don't tell us who those people are. You come when food prices are going up everywhere continuously, when farmers do not have inputs, you still come and tell us that the plan for food and jobs is successful and that you are doing well and the economy is doing well. For whose interest? When you say the economy is doing well, for who? Is it not for our interest? What are they in government for? It's not for our interest. But unfortunately, that is the reality. The reality is that they are doing all these things to meet IMF conditionalities. And we're talking about figures, statistics. Do they bring food on our table? When people have no jobs, when people have no inputs, the plan for food and jobs phase 2, where has it begun? They should tell us. How much have they spent? They are still registering farmers. Food prices are going up, even in the season of harvesting. How do you justify this with coming to give us figures? Unfortunately, these gentlemen, they just push them to say things that they know very well that what they are saying is not true.
I see. Now, again, were your inputs, for example, as a key player within the industry, sought before this review was presented to Ghanaians?
No, it has been a long time. They don't listen to us, so they don't take our inputs. Where they get their inputs, wherever they get their figures, it's not from us. We will not give them wrong figures. We won't give them figures that are not on the ground. So all their figures they have, wherever they got them, of course, they are government, and they think they have got a network and they can the machinery to have all figures. But these are their figures. They are not our figures. We are not part of it.
Quickly before you go, the young people who were supposed to have been trained with this $6.1 million, again, I ask you, do you feel the impact of whatever training they got and, you know, the impact on the sector? What, if I asked you, what would you say?
I'm saying that it is not about the training. They should show us the people. How do you spend such an amount? And I'm saying about $12,000 training one person. What for? They should show us the effect because they are spending the money and they are telling us they've done this. They should show us the expenditure and its impact and its outcomes. They should show us. We don't know them. They can parade them. They can locate them in all the regions, wherever they think they have put them. They can tell Ghanaians that, look, this is the data of them. Go and find out from them. They have a responsibility of accountability. But you have our officials who just come and throw figures. When you ask them to show where they have come, how they have come with those figures, then they keep quiet. And yet they expect all of us to accept it as it is. We cannot. We just cannot.
I see. Hold the line for me. Let's connect with Mr. Dan Akwe. He's the Executive Director of Agri Impact Consult. He was a project lead for the Happy Project that spent 6.1 million Ghana cedis to train 500 youth. I just want you to listen to Mr. Akwe briefly, and then I'll invite your input. Mr. Akwe, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Great. Mr. Akwe, these 500 young people, where did you train them? Where are they?
I think the minister's statement to some extent has been misunderstood. The part of the matter is that Agri Impact Limited, we partnered with the Mastercard Foundation to roll out an ambitious and transformative agricultural program called HAPPY, Harnessing Agricultural Productivity and Prosperity for Youth. Now, in that program, there are 8 implementing partners, including MIDA, which the minister mentioned. And it is a 4-year program. Now, what the program is to leverage on government investment resources as well as that of the private sector. So, for government, they are investing in economic enclave programs, including the one at Kasunya, where they have targeted to develop 10,000 acre land under irrigation for rice production. So this project called Happy is leveraging on that investment. The figure that was mentioned was not meant for 500 youth, and it is rather meant for impacting on 38,000 young people within the Kasunya Suchari acoustic enclave, and any other informal youth that might come to that enclave and wants to go into agriculture. So yes, the partnership, the value of the partnership is $6.1 million, but the number of people that have been trained today is what the minister mentioned. So they have not used $12,000 in one person. That is not the issue.
So how much, what if you break it down for us, Mr. Quay, how much was spent on each individual?
No, it's not how much was spent on each. The program is impacting on 38,000 young people. It's providing starter pack in terms of agro inputs. It's providing seed. It's providing training. It's linking them to market. It's leveraging of private sector technologies. It involves some of the young people going into rice seed production. Some of the people will go into mechanization services. Some will go into distribution of end products. And in that entry, there is an anchor private sector partner called AgroKing. And if you go there today, you see the investment that has also been made by AgroKing. So AgroKing, being the anchor private sector partner, is also providing resources, training, markets and infrastructure for these young people. So you take the whole value chain value and support. So it is not using $6.1 million in 500 people.
So Mr. Quay, you at Agri Impact Consult, project lead for the Happy Project, are not able to tell me that this is how much we got, and for each individual, if we're doing resource pack, whatever it is, we don't know how much it costs to train one person. I mean, every school will do that. We'll be able to do that. Why can't you tell us?
See, when you must understand where I am, we are not looking at only producers of rice. So you will say that, okay, and the program is not just for training. It's not a capacity building program. Then I will say that if you come for 2-hour lecture, we will charge you X amount. This is a comprehensive program, a value chain program, right from production to marketing. Somebody will come into production to produce 2 hectares of rice. The expenditure or the support for that person is different from someone who has come in and providing warehouse service.
Okay, so let's save ourselves some time. So Mr. Kariwe has a meeting, I know, but let's save ourselves some time. So there are different categories of the training. That's what I understand by what you have said.
Exactly.
So for those who are into rice production, for example, how much did you spend on each individual?
The program has been designed such that Agri Impact is the lead, and we are working with implementing partners. NIDA is one, National Service Team is one, Ministry of Agri, TechnoServe, Jobberman, CEA, New Age. These are 8 implementing partners. Each implementing partner is on the ground. It is not Agri Impact that is on the ground offering training to the young people. So MIDA is on the ground in that enclave. And let me also make this different, that it is not a training program. Please, if it is a training program, I'll tell you that if I train one person, it will cost you this. But
I'm only following the lead of the minister who said in Parliament on record that we have trained. That's why I'm using the word train. I'm not the one who injected that into the narrative.
You are also linking it to the 6.1 million.
Well, but it is the minister who announced this in Parliament on national TV, not me.
Oh, yes. No, but if you the minister's statement very well. The minister said that they have trained 500 youth through, it's not a using, he said through a $6.1 million partnership program.
I think it means the same thing. You don't deny the fact that the minister said trained and he mentioned 6.1.
Oh, yeah,
it means the same thing.
That
right?
one, no, I will not deny. The minister said trained, and truly, yes, we have trained.
Let me quote what the minister says. He says, we have trained about 500 youths in agriculture entrepreneurship through a $6.1 million partnership with the MasterCard Foundation. Exactly, verbatim.
Exactly, that is what I'm also talking about.
So don't we understand it?
No, the value of the partnership is $6.1 million. That is not the value of the training of the 500.
So let me ask you, as your organization, Agri Impact Consult, how much of the $6.1 million was given to you to help in this exercise?
No. MIDA did not get. We have a contract with the MasterCard Foundation, and we have subcontracted to MIDA. So it is not MIDA that has subcontracted us to do training.
Okay, I understand you, but how much of the $6.1 million came to you? Because you obviously were not working for free, no?
No. I think you need to also understand the structure of the program. The MasterCard Foundation has signed agreements with Agri Impact for a program that has been co-created by 8 partners. So Agri Impact is from MasterCard, it comes to Agri Impact. Agri Impact says, Leader, you are bringing these resources in terms of infrastructure, in terms of they have irrigated land, they have training center, they provide accommodation for the young people there. They are constructing roads, they have connected electricity to that enclave. So that is the contribution of government or MIDA.
I get how these programs run. I'm saying that unless you want to tell us that you worked for free, but if you didn't work for free, you must have received some compensation for helping to train these young people. I'm asking you, how much compensation did you get, Mr. Akwe?
No, I'm also saying that your question is not a valid question because we are not training institution, and I want to explain that we have not been contacted by MIDA to offer training to young people, so that I will come and say it was my fee. The substance of the matter is that a program to bring jobs to young people have been rolled out, and it is for agricultural value chain implemented by 8 partners, including MIDA and including Rice.
Ms. Akwe, cut us the chase, please. Did you work for free?
No, but what is your interest in knowing how much I have charged?
Well, this is Ghanaians' money. This money belonging to Ghanaians. You have been mentioned. That's why I'm asking you to be fair to you, so you don't go and say that you were not heard. This because all of this has been heaped literally on your head. We are trying to decouple the issues so that what you have explained to us, for example, that it's not necessarily a training program, a straight jacket thing. It has different legs, different arms, and that's what we are asking you. We are asking you to tell your story, so that nobody comes to say that they carried $6.1 million and give to you.
I have explained the story. I have explained the program. I have explained the structure.
But you are unwilling to tell us how much of the $6.1 million came to you.
It is a program that is providing job opportunities for 326,000 young people in the country.
You are happy. It appears you are happy telling me the number of people that have been impacted or will be impacted, but how much we are spending, which we know now, 6.1 million, and how much of that you are getting, you are refusing to give us those figures. Do you think it is fair?
Yes, I think that's question, and I will say again that if you are asking me how much am I getting, I mean, what is the? I still want to understand the value of that question. How much am I getting? If I am not the one offering the training, if I am not the one on the ground doing implementation, And the program has not been structured in the way that they will say, if you train one person, you are getting two, and therefore you train 2,000 people, you are getting 2,000 or 4,000 Ghana. That is not how the project has been structured.
Are you suggesting that Ghanaians don't need to know how their money was spent?
But if they want to know how their money has been spent, if we don't want people to know, the minister wouldn't have come to make the statement.
Okay. Mr. Akwe, we'll leave it here. And I see that you don't want to tell us how much, but it's fine. That's fine. That's your right. Dan Akwe is the executive director at the Agri Impact Consult, is the project lead for Happy Project. We've spent $6.1 million US, and he says the numbers that were quoted by the minister is not actually the numbers. Helen, there you have it.
A little bit confused
Don't be
by
confused.
this, because the English is very, very clear. So I might suggest, this is just a little comms tip. So the minister says, we have trained about 500 youths on agriculture entrepreneurship.
Akwe says it is not training.
Through a $6.1 million US partnership with MasterCard Foundation. Now, if you listen to what Mr. Quay said and you juxtapose that against the statements, there's some discrepancy. If what he's saying is as it were, then the minister should have said the following: we have trained about 500 youth on agriculture entrepreneurship, or as part of a $6.1 million US partnership. Then you know that as part of means that then there are other elements and legs to it. But if you come and tell me that you have trained 500 youth through a $6.1 million partnership, the only inference is that, as per what Mr. Karawe did here, that you've given about $12,000 to each person that you are training, and we should be able to track that figure and track that impact on the agri business. This thing where, listen, we do ourselves no service when we frame information to the people in a certain way.
This one is ways and means communication.
Ways and means communication.
Because the record is in Parliament.
Yes.
Right? So we had to put it out this way.
But I think even with this, with what Mr. Quay said, he could have broken it down for us, because it says it has different legs. Some are doing training, some are doing seeds. So you can say that, okay, out of this amount, this is spent on training, this is spent on seedlings, this is spent on marketing, this is spent on this. Just to give us a clear picture so we can track. Because Mr. Quay, with all due respect, we've had many of these types of interventions where he said it will impact so and so 100,000 people. It will These days we want to know exactly what the breakdown looks like, so we interrogate the figures for ourselves. I think that could have been provided.
I won't tell you. What can you do about it? You can't do FOCO.
You have been hearing about the promises I am making. In front winning, I win the election in December. One district, one country.
Nanado also reiterated the MPP's commitment to implement the free senior high school education policy as a catalyst to an all-inclusive education. He also assured restoration of allowances to teacher and nursing trainees when the party wins power. He noted that Ghana under President Mahama has witnessed deceit and corruption, hence the need for positive change. Nanado appealed to the electorate in the northern region to vote for him and all the parliamentary candidates in the various constituencies.
September 2016, that sound clip is from September 2016 on how to deliver the promises. Well, we'll get back to some more of that, but Julius Jima is joining us. He's the Executive Director, Center for Public Policy and Economic Analysis. Julius, thank you for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Johnny. Thanks for having me.
Great. Did the Finance Minister delight you yesterday?
Everybody here carries letters and USF. Johnny, you see, when it comes to budget, it comes with its own characteristics, which is a mixed feeling. Certainly, there are personal traits that the finance minister have demonstrated, which is quite inspiring. That putting his own life to the barest minimum, that where he's coming from, Tamale Abuabo today, in the shoes of the finance minister, and then presented the budget to the country for the first time. So that is inspiring. So on that regard, I believe that when we really work hard in the country, in society, the system can reward you. That is the hope and the inspiring moment that I think from the finance system.
Now, if you look at the analysis that has been made after the budget review presented by the finance minister, you realize that there are more questions than the answers that he sought to provide. And then you ask yourself, weren't consultations done before this presentation was made?
Well, I think that, just as I said, it's all about a big feeling that every budget comes with. Some expectations were met, some expectations were not met. Personally, I was looking at for some time, but it didn't come to pass. So, with a bit of a hindsight, after getting the next budget and reviewing it and following the fiscal policy direction and economic policy direction as well, and where the government under the IMF fund at the same time, I believe that is why they couldn't do that. Hands are tight at the moment. We have to do domestic revenue. And again, the finance minister has also made some savings with regards to the external debt negotiations that went on. So he has to really balance the books and make sure that monies are still coming and domestic revenues are still continuing. And at the same time, we will not, we have to respect the conditions that the fund is giving to the country, and we stay in line and then we become more disciplined.
For you as an economist and as an analyzer of economic stuff, the bread and butter issues that matter to Ghanaians, did you find presence in the budget review yesterday from where you sit?
Absolutely. That is what most Ghanaians were expecting, especially to speak with the business community, market surveys that we conducted, the researches that personally I went to the market to conduct some research, to speak to our market women, our market brothers and sisters, and to most of also can speak. I mean, you'll be talking to Guta a lot. Dr. Mr. Cobain and the like. If you really listen to the conversation, the bread and butter issues, were much of a concern to the ordinary Ghanaian. And then since this is the last budget for this current government, so there has been an icing on the cake. The expectations are the taxes. There would have been an icing on the cake that there will be some tax cuts or a tax redirection. That is the tone on the market. That is the mind of the market. But honestly speaking, yes, we couldn't speak that the bread and butter issue has always been a major concern for the ordinary Ghanaian. Yes, inflation is now 22.8%. But still, when we go to the market, there are some other commodities that so much lower the prices and all that. I don't really know the reason why we are speaking against or speaking about some of the costs, which is transportation, the civil depreciation and all that. Currently, we are getting some influx of dollars in the system to meet that demand and supply of the city. But still, if we go to the market, things are really high, especially cost of tomatoes. Now, the recent one is cost of a tuber of yam. So is it a case that our own sellers are maintaining the original prices of their goods that, it's like first in, first out? The prices that they obtain from the farm gate are the same prices they are selling. They don't want to reduce it and all that. So we're expecting probably the mid-year review will come to address some of these concerns, especially with agricultural policy. What government is doing, what government to intervene to make sure that if it is about cost of fuel or cost of transport, probably the minister will come in to see some of the policies that they will use to really solve some of these problems so that we can have the bread and butter issues really reduce the barest minimum so that everybody can be okay and comfortable. I believe that this is what we are all looking out for. We don't want to be paying more for the basic commodities of life. I mean, the basic quality of life, we should be able to enjoy. I mean, especially food and then cost of transport.
The minister admitted yesterday that Ghanaians have suffered over the last 2 years, but they have corrected all the things that were making Ghanaians suffer, and that going forward, things will be better. Do you believe him?
Yes, I believe in that. Even not coming from the minister. I mean, if we have followed the economy, and then we know that things will always get better. As to in the current terms or next year or 2 years, it is going to still take some time. I have to be modest about this particular announcement. Johnny, what caused the problems? I believe that you have, explained, debated, interviewed a lot of people, government expenditure, the budget deficit, vulnerability to shocks. Our wages were not building up. Inflation was eating up our money. Dollar relationship on interaction with CD and dollar was really increasing. If you look at our international trade, export versus import, currently, if you look at the media review, or even if you follow the summary of economic and finance data from the Bank of Ghana, we have been recording some exports in terms of becoming more than our imports. So we are getting the trade surpluses. And so all these things are indications. Look at inflation, 54.6% as at end period, December 2023. Now we are 22.3. If you look at the interpretation of the CD, previously, to look at 2021, 2022, and to some extent, even last year, was really well. Our currency was really performing badly together with Sri Lanka. After the announcement of the IMF, we started that the depreciation was coming down. And the minister brought out the figures between 18.6% currently as compared to 2023 to around 22.3%. So all the indicators are pointing to the fact that there are some recovery and the economy will really do better. If we talk about our GDP growth rate, since that the ministry did, currently it's recorded at 4.7 growth percent in our GDP. Non-oil too is doing very well. All to kind courtesy, we are disciplined under IMF program. Payments are going to the places that they have to go. There's value for money in the system. You don't really have the luxury of overspending. You are doing things right now. Unlike the COVID period, unlike the Russia-Ukraine war period. Now, the ministry is careful, the minister is careful. So all these things, like I always say, if the minister will continue in this trajectory and then discipline, continue with the discipline, the prudence. You see, the one thing is that when you talk about prudence concept, is that you don't, you are not too happy.
So, if I hear you right, and if I hear Dr. Amin Adam right, it means that the former finance minister was indeed a problem.
The minister will continue in this direction. I believe that currently what is left is how cost of living and the cost of food will come down and it will be okay.
I'm saying that if I hear you right, I hear Dr. Amin Adam right and other analysts right, it means that the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, was indeed the problem.
This is a nice one. I don't want to attribute the problem to Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. He did his best. Everybody has their background, their experiences. He was an investment banker. He was really looking at how he's going to get access to funding in the shortest possible time, trying to balance budget deficits. He was dealing more with the Eurobond market. Anytime there's a budget, quickly we raise money from the Eurobond and all that. So, John, it's personal experiences. Somebody would also want to have more time and then restructure the economy, plan it so well that at the end of the day, our domestic revenue would augment our budget expenditure so that we can have a very stable economy. We know what happens. Borrowing. The more you borrow, you build up your public debt, and now we have to restructure. Now we want to bring it to 55% of our GDP within the next 3 years and all that. So it all depends on the strategy that the person who is occupying the office of the finance ministry has and what the person is seeing. It also comes back to the background of the person. So different experiences, different approaches. Our leaders are there to take decisions for us. Some will be in the interest of the country. Some will not be in the interest of the country. So we inherit assets and liabilities. The new minister is in now. I'm so happy for him with the fact that he came within the shortest possible. I remember you gave me an opportunity for an interview and we are trying to assess whether or not you'll be able to do well within the shortest possible time, which we discussed that he really has a limited time. So now he has to focus on getting us out of the external debt situation. And now he's done it. He's really made it and done it so well that we have some savings now for the country. I believe that all these things, the minister will see the options available to him now and make sure that all the success stories within the shortest possible time, he will be able to do more and achieve more and make the economy more stable. And like as you said yesterday, very soon we should be able to see the impact, the changes in the system. And yes, when it comes to petroleum prices, I know and I know the fact that most of the prices are on the international market because it's an international commodity. But however, if we are getting the relief, now our debt is coming down. Now, government in itself has some form of space or time to do repayment. All these things are options available for the minister to capitalize on it and then make the economy more stable than it is currently that we are speaking. But if we look at the pendulum, we have suffered a lot as a country. The economy has been hurting for some time now. But currently, there's some light at the end of the tunnel. And then with these new form of changes coming in, there's a new finance minister, a new person, new direction, a new chapter, a new phase. I believe that all the stakeholders from the IMF to the World Bank to local stakeholders, the business community, investors, local people, market women, the engagement will make this minister more effective. And I believe that he has started so well because when he came, he has started with a monthly economic update. And he's meeting civil society, he's meeting academia, he's meeting professionals and everybody. So when this thing continues within the remaining life of the year, which is 5 months of elections, I believe that, things that people really don't understand, the media is doing so well, he's bringing us on board to explain some of the issues. But to complement what we are doing in the system, when he continues like this, I believe that everybody will be clear in their minds and will know the direction of the country. Where we are going.
So, Mr. Julius Jima, even though the new finance minister is working with the same team that Mr. Ofori-Atta worked with, and things are beginning to look up, as you're saying, and the minister has admitted, you don't want to say that Mr. Ofori-Atta was the problem, because the same team is what both of them worked with or are working with. Hello, Julius. Hello, Mr. Jima. Mr. Jima cannot.
A team will have to overpower that particular.
I didn't hear you, sir. Hello, Julius.
I don't want to attribute blames to persons, to people who didn't do well or who did well. When the glory comes, we share in it. When the team wasn't the weaknesses or when we are not doing well, we take the blame. So, Johnny, this is not a time to be exposing individuals. Ghanaians cried for this. We talked about this reshuffle, and the president has made it. So let's stick to that and make sure that at least we can rally around the current minister to make the country better for all of us. At the end of the day, we are all paying for the same thing, goods and services. We are all paying for consumption of goods and services. We are buying the same picture from the top. And that is what we want to be watching, that prices are really reflecting to the current achievement that we are making. So let's not now, there's no more Ken Ofori-Atta. Why would you want to go back and discuss Ken Ofori-Atta?
Well, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is not gone. He's still out there. You know that within the sector where you work, Mr. Ofori-Atta is the one doing the external job, essentially, of the finance ministry. You know that, don't you?
As the senior presidential advisor for international transactions.
No, I'm just asking, but you know he's still in the picture, you know, right?
Yeah, let's also not, Johnny, let's not take from the fact that Mr. Ofori-Atta has some experience that he can share.
How did the experience help us in the last 7 years? That's the question that Ghanaians are asking. That in the last 7 years, the experience was there. We were told about this same experience that we have a combined 80 years experience from Ken Ofori-Atta, Charles Edou-Boahen, blah, 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 a Japan deal, and then we still went into a ditch. Right? A combined 8 years. How did the experience help us so that we still don't want him to go off? We are keeping him and we are still in the ditch. How? We are on an IMF program. The IMF program is an extended program or external program. And he's the one in charge of our external affairs relative to the finance ministry. And you don't want to be the one to tell us that all is not well? How?
Let's also be a bit that there was serious pandemic. I mean, today, if you listen to the U.S. politics or the U.S. economy, look at the current Prime Minister some
I hear you. Julius Jima is the executive director for Center for Public Policy and Economic Analyst.